I can guarantee one thing. You were not expecting to see this in your timeline today.
Public service announcement. Excuse me. If y'all didn't know, this is the MSC, and frankly, there's just too many white people in here, and this is a space for people of color. So just be really cognizant of the space that you're taking up, because it does make some of us POCs uncomfortable when we see too many white people in here. It's only been open for 4 days, and frankly, there's the whole university for a lot of y'all to be at, and there's very few spaces for us. So keep that in mind. Thank you.
First of all, let me say that she don't speak for every black person, especially not me. And I don't recommend nobody imitate any actions like this where you try to make a particular group feel less than in a multicultural space at that. Imagine if the shoe was on the other foot. Seriously. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I've never seen that clip. I reacted to that clip a while ago. However, I do want to speak on it because it's a new clip that resurfaced of college students who were at that particular event, and they commented and gave their thoughts on too many white people in here. They were actually, and one person was actually in denial about her saying that. How the hell is it multicultural if you just wanted to be one culture? Make it make sense. And if the shoe was on the other foot, this would be, oh my God, primetime news. Time. Wow, I really put it in. Prime time news. This would be everywhere, all over your screens, televised, the rhetorics, the gaslighting, all that'll be, you know, but rightfully so. You know, I don't think it's okay for anybody on any side, well, no matter what culture you are, you didn't decide, you had no say so in that. But no matter who you are, man, like, no, it's wrong. It's racist. And in this day and age, I'm not gonna teach my children segregation. You know, I don't believe in that. I'm a firm believer in God, and I don't believe that we should have to remove ourselves or not be able to come together and have to always segregate ourselves all the time, especially on a school campus. It's like, imagine if there was an all-white safe space. That would, bro, I'm just saying, look at the logic. But what was even worse was the fact that you had people that clapped to her saying this. That's what had me like, what? So the question that I have today is the same question that my friend Charlie Cheung asked. What are we doing to white people?
I think like white people need to be aware of the fact that it's not a space for them, and make sure that like when they're entering their space or that space, they're not like taking up the space for other like people of color that want to use it.
If this is a multicultural space and it doesn't look multicultural, right, then the multicultural people at UVA feel less comfortable here. How
about more black people just show up? How about that?
I think that UVA's statement was ridiculous, and that it's a multicultural student space, and that white people need to be aware of the spaces that they occupy on grounds, and that we need to all be aware of the kind of, I don't know, the way that we occupy spaces around everything. And I think that she had a good point, and she wasn't aggressive. She was very clear and concise with what she said, and she had a good point.
Do you think that the Multicultural Student Center should be reserved for students that are minorities?
I think that it's a space where it's multicultural, so it's designated to be a multicultural space, and I think that more people of color are safe there and feel more safe there. Yes, I do.
So should white people be allowed in the MSC?
That's not the issue. That's not the issue.
What? That is the literal... Okay.
The issue is that it felt like a safe space, and now it does not feel like a totally safe space for people who do not feel safe outside of that space.
Why?
I think that as a white person, I don't want to say that I should be allowed anywhere, and I think it should be up to those organizations to decide.
So should white people be allowed in those spaces, or should it just be?
Allowed in those spaces, most definitely.
Because I'm just going back to the video where she said that there were too many white people.
She said, see, like when you take that exact phrase out of context.
That's not out of context. How can you take that out of context? That's literally.
Actually, I don't know exactly. I don't know if she said that exactly.
And frankly, there's just too many white people in here.
The MSC is a place for people of color and like multicultural students to gather, and so they kind of want that to be like a safe space for them, but also like you don't want it to be exclusive and like feel like, I guess, white people are like being ostracized from like that space, so it's kind of like a tough balancing act.
They needed to be cognizant of the space that they're taking up, And I think that that's a very valid point, because this university is full of history that's basically oppressing people of color. And so it's very hard for people to have a space where they feel like safe. And the MSC is a place where we feel safe.
And I can't speak for racial minorities specifically since I don't identify.
So do you think that white people should be allowed in the MSC?
I think that people can be allowed in the MSC, but I think that they need to be coming in to engage with cultures. And if they're coming in
other words, they need to come in there knowing that this is about black people and mostly about black people. Only about black people, pretty much. That's what I'm getting from this, because, I mean, you have the same opportunities and chances right now at that university right now.
most of the time it should be for the events that the MSC puts on, and they put on events all the time that talk about like racial issues. I don't think that people should be coming in to just use it as a study spot and to take up space.
And I gotta say, I love this tweet that's right below it from Stephanie. It says, in my opinion, the worst thing we face is a growing pandemic of generalization in a world divorced from history. That's definitely the truth. Since I've been on this path of trying to educate myself, I've realized that there's so much that was left out in history that I learned. It profoundly affects the ignorant and especially hits the willfully ignorant hard. That's deep. The problem with this generation is this is what they are taught, so they believe it. There are people who claim just because you are an American, you bear the sins of every American who came before you, which is something that I don't believe either. For example, all white people are responsible for slavery because they are white, and even if no one in their family history ever owned slaves. Those same people believe that all black people are owed reparations, even if no one in their family were slaves. All rich people are evil because all the evil people are rich, and the list goes on and on. Wow, Stephanie, you touched on so much in that one tweet. I think, again, history has definitely been reduced. It has definitely been diluted over time. And again, a lot of the things that I learned in school, since I've come into the world and we opened up to this university called the internet, I've learned so much more about not only American history, but history as a whole. And it definitely opened up my eyes and perspectives, which leads me to the whole reparations argument. I'm somebody that's like, hey, if I wasn't a slave, if I didn't experience that, I don't deserve to be compensated for that. And then the idea that every person that has money or comes into money is somehow evil or with ill intent. I find that argument to always be a bit, I'm always taken back, because it's like, yo, you completely remove the merit and the hard work that person put in and put themselves in that position. And then on top of that, you sound like a hater. I'm just saying, you sound like a hater. That doesn't mean that there aren't people out here with some not so good intentions. I'm not saying everybody who has money is good, and I'm not saying everybody who has money is bad. But back to the whole point of this video. Just that whole being able to just look white people in their faces and just go, hey, you know, it's too many of y'all in here. It's like you're trying to build this quota system, which I'm also against, like affirmative action. I don't believe that people should get a position just based on their skin color. They should get it based on their qualifications. Personally, just married. Like anybody else down for hard work, like, you agree. But to the point of all of what Stephanie was saying in a tweet as it relates to that is these younger generations is only going to get worse and worse as the information continues to dilute, you know, as generations continue to pass and these years continue to pass. There's only going to be more approved racism, and we don't approve racism whatsoever at all. I don't condone it, do not do it, do not have none of that. However, you know, you have these nowadays we have in culture where you can do stuff like this and it's approved. It's not seen as racism, which is ultimately behavior that is taught. I had a conversation with my daughter the other day, I want to say about a week ago, and she was telling me about how she was in school and they was learning about a lot of history. I don't want to go into this specific subject. And at the end of the conversation, I remember asking her, I said, baby, how do you feel about people who don't share the same skin tone or the same skin color? People who may be white, Puerto Rican or, you know, Hispanic or Indian, I was just naming them all. And then she said she brought up white people, and then she literally was just like, white people? And I was like, yeah, well, how do you feel about white people? And she shrugged her shoulders. She said, I don't know, only because what I'm learning in school is that, you know, they were really bad at one point to us. And I told her, I just brought her up to speed, like, hey, baby, no matter where you are in life, no matter who you are around, there's good people and there's bad apples out there as well. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't show their true colors, and I get that. However, don't walk around on this earth today thinking that because somebody don't share the same skin tone that they automatically have some sort of vendetta, or they have some sort of grudge to come after you in some sort of way to harm you. If somebody treats you with respect, you treat them with respect. If somebody treats you with disrespect, you remove yourself. And we had other conversations beyond that, but for the sake of this video and the fact that we on this platform, yeah. And honestly, what is the safe space? Can we define this? Obviously, it means you want to have a place where people can congregate together, but I mean, dude, you can pull up to the house and we can just chop it up and feel safe and study. Like, so the theory nowadays is college is being used to indoctrinate liberals, pretty much. That's what it's looking like. Continuing to create more divide in our country. We don't need that, man. We need to come together. I'm all about peace and unity. I don't advise anybody participate in any racist acts or participate in any hatred or bullying or harassment or anything of that nature, man. I feel like we all are created equal and we should be treated as such. And what's even worse is you can't share the same values and principles and morals and integrity and merit-based ideologies, I guess, if you don't share the same skin color. Watch this.
What way are you similar to Frederick Douglass? I have the same belief, worldview. I believe men are made in the image of God. I believe that the country is in rebellion against God, that we need to abolish great evils.
Okay,
I believe that religion does have a role in forming a nation. I believe Frederick Douglass believed all these things. Some people like Frederick Douglass because he looks cool, but I mean, he does look cool. He looks great on the quarter. But I'm saying what he actually believes. Do you believe what Frederick Douglass believes?
I'm struggling to see the parallels of, like, you, a modern white man in society.
Right. Well, look beyond the color.
I'm similar to Frederick Douglass.
In worldview and in approach. Don't try not to look at my color.
That's very hard to, because
okay.
I have eyes.
Okay. All right.
You know what? This is where you just click on the next video.